My awful family is pressuring me to give my entitled sister my wedding venue because she is pregnant. So, I uninvited them all to my wedding. My fiancé and I have been together for 8 years and engaged for 3. I was doing my PhD program and was juggling planning the wedding. My fiancé took much of that work, but it was perfect because our dream venue was booked until after my graduation. So what we did was book our dream venue for 3 years in advance. It is really a beautiful venue. The only slot we got was in September of this year. However, my sister got engaged a few months ago to her fiancé. They were planning on having a spring wedding next year. They had no venue lined up but had a few vendors lined up as well as a set date. Yesterday our parents invited us to a family barbecue, where my sister announced to our extended family that she was expecting. My grandmother asked my sister if the wedding was still on the set date or if they were going to wait, because of the baby. She said no and that she hoped to move it to September. I thought that we didn't have many out-of-town guests so they could attend both weddings with no problem. Grandmother was happy and asked their sister if she needed help planning such a short notice wedding. My sister then turned to me and said, "That's what I wanted to talk to you about. I was really hoping we could kinda like take your venue. I really cannot stress myself too much with planning a wedding while going to maternity classes, and I think it is so beautiful. It would really mean a lot to me." It went silent, but everyone was looking at me expecting me to agree. My brother-in-law looked very uncomfortable and told her that they had talked about this and that it was not okay to put me on the spot. But my sister just said, "Don't be like that. My sister wants to do what's best for me so it's no big deal, right?" I just said, "Well, it kind of is. I don't know. I have my heart really set on the venue." Cue the crying. She stormed off and Nan told me that I was being selfish because she needed the venue more than I did. I tried to defend myself and my mother said, "You waited 3 years. Would it have killed you to wait a few more months? When has your sister ever asked you for something?" A few comments later my fiancé got mad and we left. My sister called me crying and said that it was unfair that I always got what I wanted and that I could have done this one thing for her. Dad said it is just a venue and what matters is the person who you are marrying. He is kind of right, but we have been planning for so long. My fiancé is furious with my family and doesn't even want my sister to come. Now my family is threatening not to come because I am being selfish and my sister needs it more than me because having a baby is too stressful. My brother-in-law called me and apologized for the inconvenience. He told me he had discussed it with my sister and she had told him she would not ask. He is properly mad at her now and warned me that my sister is blaming me for potentially ruining her marriage. My father has sent me about 5 texts along the lines of, "I hope you are happy your sister hasn't stopped crying since yesterday," and so on and so on. My fiancé and I have decided to boot my sister from the bridal party and replace her with my aunt who is the only family member that took my side. We have not decided whether or not we will invite my family as a whole. Furthermore, my mom took it upon herself to tell on us. She called fiancé's parents and told them that it would be best if my sister gets it because she is pregnant and preeclampsia runs in the family. Whatever that means. My future father-in-law told them to F off and basically ripped my mom a new one for expecting something so ridiculous and that they were going to lose me if they kept playing favorites. So my mom is now crying too and saying that my father-in-law is an ass. This is just getting so pathetic. It seems straight out of a bad soap opera. My in-laws are driving to us currently with some supper and wine and basically told me to not worry and that no matter what happens they will be my safety net. I cried with happiness. I messaged my sister saying, "I am sick and tired of bending to your will. My whole life I have been your servant and your doormat. I am done. I admit that I also spoiled you but I will not any longer. If you want to marry so badly before your baby is born then you could look at cheap hotels that offer last-minute weddings. I have spent too much time planning my wedding to give it to you. And if you want to ruin our relationship over this then go ahead. I will sleep sound and safe knowing that it wasn't my fault."